Hello and welcome to the 6 months to six figure series of the Double Your Freelancing podcast. I'm your host, Zach Swinehart. In this series, you'll follow a specific freelancer, in this case, Maia, as I coach them from early stages to earning a six-figure annual income, which breaks down to $8,333 a month. We already technically did that for Maia, so now we're coaching her to six figures in her pocket, so like six figures in profit. In this series, Maia and I connect every week or two, and it closely follows the format of the DYF Accelerator community. So if you're listening to this and you're like, ooh, it'd be so cool to have coaching like that, you can totally get it. Join the community. To learn more about that, you can go to dyf.link/DYFA. So let's jump in. Maia, last week we were talking about community stuff, and it sounds like that's what you want to chat about a little bit more today. So on this topic of the community thing, what would you like to leave with today?
Well, I officially and sneakily launched a waiting list for my course. I decided after the workshop I am 100% doing a course next year. And I have like 20 people sign up. I never send it in my email list. I put it in the resource hub in a little pocket, like it's for the curious ones. People message me being super excited about it. So I want to talk a little bit about that. I know that blank page is my biggest priority, but I know that there's so much potential and momentum in like jumping into group coaching and community.
Cool. And by the way, for everyone listening, Maia is in Brooklyn right now. So when you hear all of these sirens, this is just the character of today's interview.
You'll recognize the place.
Yeah. Okay. So, and so the ideal takeaway is like a plan, or what would the ideal takeaway from today's session be?
I think just bounce ideas with you. It always helps me.
Okay. So, so what will the scope of the course be?
The workshop was pretty much about creating a vision for your life and how to map out daily actions and forget about like goals and start aiming for things and doing like daily small actions instead. And people really like it. So I thought the course could be very much about not digital organization, but just like organization, clarification, how to set goals in life, how actions, projects, tasks, life domains, how all that works, but without the very like techie notion productivity approach, a very much like mixed with visualization and manifestation. So how to take your ideas into how to launch projects, how to make your things happen in your life. Like that's what I said, like the theme is making things happen in 2024. And I think people really know what that means. Also, if they're familiar with my work.
And is the, like zooming out, because in the pre-interview, you were saying that a next step for you will be getting your team able to kind of manage projects like from start to finish, but they're not quite there yet. So in the grander vision of your business, what's the role of this potential course, potential group coaching? Is it to turn people into one-on-one clients / group coaching clients, which then turns them into agency clients, or how do the two get linked?
There's many, and I was literally journaling about that. I think first, coaching clients from the group would be amazing, and then having a community so I can sell products, that would be amazing, and like a familiar audience that already knows like my methodology, my terms, and then I can start selling the Notion template or the physical workbooks and like everything that I'm mentioning on the course, and yeah, I think a lot of them could convert into Basecamp and Essence clients, like branding clients. So that would be the most aligned way to find clients, would be someone that does the course with me, because then they're super prepped to launch their projects and actually like build a brand that is alive.
The 20 people who joined the sneaky hidden wait list, like did you have anything about what the course was going to cost or anything like that?
Not yet.
Okay. Because my only like kind of concern here, or not concern, just something to consider, is that when you're selling a course that's just something like goal setting, manifestation, these are the kinds of things that like they're not very close to the money, and they don't require necessarily any amount of like credentials to be able to say that you can help with. And thus there are a lot of people saying they can help with it, even if they're not that good. And I know people want to learn from you specifically, so I'm not saying that that's not valuable. But what I am saying is that this is it's not going to be like $1,000 course or something,
Mm-mm.
obviously. And I know you don't expect to sell it for that. But with these people on the wait list, it's a really great signal because it shows interest. And I think that's super duper duper awesome.
Yeah.
But it's also presumably going to be kind of a lower ticket thing. And the red flag that's going up for me a little bit is like, if you're moving in this direction of wanting to do group coaching, wanting to do community, wanting to do courses, but the only way that you're getting clients at the agency right now is through posting on your personal social media, and you don't yet have the team running everything. Like it feels maybe like a really big new piece of scope that would be a lot that you're biting off, depending on what your time is at the agency. Like what I don't want to happen is I don't want you to kind of invest into this because it's exciting and new and have your agency like burn down, or more likely just kind of wither because you're spread too thin. What are your thoughts on all that?
Absolutely. I've thought about it, and this is my consideration. Blank page is booked until the end of January. I don't have to necessarily do marketing. I know how things go. They're going to book more, especially if I'm doing a course. It's going to be more booked. And right now, my highest proximity, highest like pay, I guess, like hourly rate would be the coaching programs, because I'm charging for 6 weeks, 1,200, and it doesn't take me that much to fulfill. So that is the most profitable gig that I have, and honestly the one that I feel the most energized by, which I think is super important too. So if next year I don't have so many branding projects, like I have 1 or 2 a month, which now I have like 3 or 4. If I have 1 or 2 a month, the girls are helping me with a lot of them, and I'm doing mostly 3 or 4 people that are coaching. That would be my ideal like scope of work for every month.
Okay. And so right now social media is your like literally your only channel, right?
Yeah.
Is your social media growing, stagnating, or shrinking each month?
It's growing. I just reached 5K, and last month I was like 4.5. So like people are really sharing my stuff.
Okay, awesome. Because that was going to be like the thing that does make me always a little bit scared is the platform dependence with social. But we'll get you building your email list soon, so you're less dependent on it. But knowing that your audience is actively growing, I think that's to me that's a really good sign, obviously. And I think that what you're saying about having lower ticket offers to get people into your ecosystem and it benefiting the agency, I think that'll make sense. And if your social media following is growing, then yes, you are platform dependent, but at least nonetheless, it's growing.
But my mailing list is growing very rapidly with these free things. Like I'm at almost 1,000, sorry, math.
1,100?
1,100, 1,100, I guess.
Okay.
People in my list, which is great.
Awesome. And
more than 400 people signed up to the workshop. So we already in my list. That's in my list, and that's like 200 people, like 200 replays in like 4 days. Like it's really hot right now. Really hot. I know I have to launch something.
Cool. And that workshop, you only promoted it just like organic. You didn't run any paid or anything for that. Just
but I kind of want to. It's so fire. Really, it was so good.
Yeah, it would be cool to have you learn your numbers on it. I think I told you that the way Zach Spuckler sold his membership program, he's the dude who I learned Facebook ads from, is he did a 1-week boot camp. And on the boot camp, it was 1 live session each of the 5 days. And for the latter 3 days, his pitch was a bit too long. In my opinion, it was 15 minutes per day. And I had to pay for the boot camp. So I didn't really like it as a customer.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, he sold his membership from those boot camp sessions before the Q&A. So it was like 30 minutes content, 15 minutes pitching, 15 minutes Q&A, which again, 15 minutes felt too long. Yeah. But if it was like 10-ish, 5 to 10, it would have been fine. But in any case, doing a free workshop, since people are loving it so much, and promoting in a non-douchey way your paid thing would be a pretty cool funnel to experiment with. And then if you learn if you learn 400 people come to the workshop, 30 people, or let's call it 40 people buy your thingy, and the thingy costs $100. So then that means that you made $4,000 from 400 people, and thus each person on the workshop's worth $10. And thus, if you can like pay Instagram more to push your high engagement posts that are driving signups, and you can get signups cheaper. Like I think it could be cool, but I don't think it would make sense really to mess with it until you know your numbers and until you know what you're doing with advertising. Because if you just do like boost on Instagram, that's like one of the least efficient and least profitable styles.
And I also like, call me, I don't know, like maybe it's pride, but I don't want people to see that I boosted my stuff. It's just, I think if it's not if it's self-promotion, if it's like a photo of me, like here's a workshop, no, it's such a personal page. Right now, I don't like the idea of it, but on the blank page one, I love the idea of boosting and just like really selling in.
Well, I think that one might be worth looking into a little bit belief system-wise, because in my opinion, like if you have a lot of advertisers do this, they'll test something as organic social content. And if something does really, really well, that becomes the ad. And the fact is, the like social media algorithm is such that there might be somebody who like straight up never even sees your post and wouldn't see it unless you paid for them to see it. Or maybe they only saw it once and then they liked it and then they went away and forgot about it. So I don't know. I don't think that it's like you're paying to win or you're paying because you're natively so crappy that no one would care. It's just you're kind of pouring some gasoline onto the fire of the post, in my mind. But I'll let you explore that gradually. So for today, let's scroll back a little bit. So it does seem like you're getting some really great validation for your product offerings. And it seems like the marketing is all going fine. The fact that you're booked out, you said through January, yeah?
Basecamp, Essence, everything. I have no capacity until Feb.
And what are your margins at? Like, have you calculated your numbers with your team costs and stuff for your projects to determine your margins?
Yeah. So this month I'm making around 11. As I told you, I think a little bit more because I just signed another client. So I think 12. And I'm willing to put 3K. This is what I'm doing, the way that I'm doing finances. I'm willing to put 3K for my team. This is how I'm doing it more. And the rest I want to take home and reinvest in the business. I bought a course and stuff, but I'm just doing percentages. So I think Mali, my designer, I'm going to pay her almost like 2K to run the whole project. And I'm just going to take like 1K, potentially 1.8. And then with Luisa, she's doing a bit of project management and she's doing all the Pinterest ads. So with Anna, I'm doing something very interesting that maybe you want to talk about margins and profits, and I'll tell you after, but I'm making her create her own offer. So she's not really getting paid, but she is a multimedia artist, and I get a lot of like analog people that are not qualified for Basecamp or Essence at all. They're more artistic. Basecamp and Essence are very business oriented. So I want Anna to lead that department of like art, because that's not me.
Okay, interesting. Well, yes, we can talk about that, but you're right. I do want to talk about margins first. So you said your ideal is 2 branding projects a month, 3 or 4 coaching. And coaching does not require any team fulfillment other than maybe like some email? Okay.
0.
So coaching, you said if you're doing 3 a month, well, if you're doing 4 a month, you're saying you're adding 4 new ones a month, or you're performing 4? Because if it's 6 weeks, that means each one is a month and a half.
4, and I have
adding
3.
4 new ones?
No. 4 clients. Where like I have 3 clients that are recurring, and then 1 new one. Right now, and I would like to have 4 clients. It doesn't matter if they're new or if they're recurring. Just 4. Does that make sense?
But what I'm saying is, it does kind of make sense, but the like math or the overlap doesn't. So suppose you had 4 clients give you $1,200 on January 1st. They will not be finished with their coaching program until February 15th. Do you wait until February 15th to sign 4 more, or do you sign 4 more on February 1st?
That's a really good question. I guess every month, and sometimes they overlap, but I've never had more than 4 or 5 coaching clients at the same time, and it feels really manageable.
And what if you had 6 at the same time? Would that be manageable too?
Yeah, it's so easy, really. It's so easy to coach, like time-wise and energy-wise.
So then if you were to, if you were to do 4 a month, or if you were to sign for a month, that would mean you would, for 2 weeks of a given month, be supporting 6 people, just as a heads up. But it sounds like you're fine with that. So for a month, it'd be 4,800, which is basically all profit. And then 2 branding projects. What is your profit on a single branding project?
3.8, and my profit would be...
That's your profit, like after...
No. 3.8 is how much it costs, and I'd say like staff, just remove 1K.
Okay, so $2,800 per project profit. Okay. Okay, so that means if you indeed fill yourself up in that way, then that puts you over 10K a month in air quotes profit. Then you subtract taxes, and you're gonna probably need help with like an email inbox person and stuff like that, which would take further out of this, but it seems fine. So the question I have for you is, those 2 branding projects as you are now, like let's pretend that you try to hand off more to your team and your clients don't like it, or your team members don't do very well, and you have to kind of like maintain the level of ownership and touch points that you are today. How much time is each branding project taking you?
It really depends, Zach. Really, really depends. I would say from 12 to 20 hours. But also some are 8. Literally 8 hours.
Then I'll call it 10 to 20, 15 average. So that means that's 2 project equals 30 hours a month there. And then what does 1 coaching client take you per month in terms of time?
I'd say 6 hours, because it's three calls of 1 hour each, and then onboarding, offboarding, notes.
You said 3 calls of 1 hour each? Okay.
The 6 week, yeah.
So what it means, if it's 6 weeks and you're signing for a month, then that essentially means that I'm trying to think of like how to do the math in terms of what you commit to each month.
12 por 3, 800. 800 a month instead of 1,200.
Oh, I just mean like your time commitment per month.
Oh, okay.
So what it'll mean is like 1 project has 4 hours in 1 month and 2 in the next month, but then you have to do 2 from the other. So I guess what we could do is it would just be the 6 hours per month total, because 2 of those hours are in the next month, but then 2 of those hours are from the previous month. So that is essentially 24 hours a month total. So that means that in total, we're looking at a little, technically 54, but let's just call it 60. So that's 15 hours a week to run your business as it is now. And does this include, like, what do you have to do outside of this to run your business? Like, are you doing all the social media posts still, for example?
Marketing, which I'm dedicating more time to it. I'm collaborating with brands that I've worked in the past, and I'm creating Pinterest campaigns, and I'm doing a lot of trainings for my team. And I'm also writing my newsletter more like dedicated now to like blank page and booking that. So I think that if it's 15 hours per week and I want to work 30, I could totally work 15 hours on marketing and just, all that other stuff.
What are you spending on marketing right now? Like, in order to keep your pipeline, like your wait list, like you are, in order to write your newsletter, in order to do your social media posts, like just all the marketing things, what are you spending right now?
I spend like 3 hours creating social media posts that are not necessarily all connected to blank page, but they boost my engagement, which is great. It boosts visibility in stories, and it just grows my numbers. And around 2 hours on stories. That is more casual. That is more tap here if you want me to send you this. So that'll be my time on social media. I try to keep it like 6, 7 sometimes, because I have to answer inbound, outbound engagement, answering comments, and answering messages. So I spend like 8 hours, because I'm also scrolling. 8 hours just on social. And I consider scrolling also marketing, because I'm like engaging with similar accounts and just engaging with my friends and my audience.
And then how many hours a week are you spending like creating your newsletter?
At the moment, let's say 3 hours, but I'm creating Colectiva, the one that is more like introspection. I have a newsletter. I don't know if I've ever told you about this. It's called About Blank. And it's a blog on mindful productivity. It was. Now it's not really that, but it's a ghost blog. And I want to change it to blank page journal, and I want to make it way more like blank page oriented. Don't know if I should be using ghost for my funnels because you can't segment, but maybe this blank page journal is just my way to redirect people into places, and not so much like big segments, but like redirect them into my flow desk, whereas you can, like, if you want to download this, go here, and that's a sign up page, and then they're in flow desk. That's what I was thinking.
Okay. I'm going to table that too, if that's okay, because I want to basically just like look at time budgets. So what I'm hearing so far is that 15 hours a week for fulfillment, for branding and coaching, 6 to 8 hours a week for social media marketing, 3 hours a week for your newsletter, maybe more if you're going to do 2. So what we're kind of starting to butt into here is that, like, let's call social on the upper end. That means 8 plus 15, that's 23, plus 3 is 26. And this doesn't account for email time, doesn't account for like answering messages in Slack, and you're already at 26. And if you're really only wanting to do 30 hours, then that means you only 4 hours a week for running workshops, creating courses. Creating courses takes like a really long time.
Yeah, okay.
So if you had to budge on something like, number 1, cut scope on, well, the course, it would be the one the push comes to shove, or like basically I'm a little bit hesitant to move forward under the assumption that you're going to be able to like successfully hand everything off to Molly, because just in my experience, like especially with you, your marketing is all personal branding marketing right now. Everyone wants to work with Maia specifically, and when I was running my agency and trying to delegate things to the team, people were kind of open to it or whatever, but quality goes down, like inarguably, when you're not holding the pulse on it anymore. People do specifically want to work with you. It's just a different vibe. And I think, I'm not saying it's not possible. Agencies do it all the time, but I am saying that it's not effortless and it's not, I wouldn't even call it easy. And so I think planning on the expectation that you're going to be able to completely step away from the agency and that your success with the course is dependent on that happening and it's not something you've done yet, that makes me a little bit nervous. So my question would be, if you had to choose, would you rather A, work more hours, B, cut your coaching availability, C, I guess, delegate projects fully for your branding, even if the clients consequently have a bad experience?
C, because I'm working on putting Mali's work out there, on showing Mali into my Instagram, showing her style. I had her on a sales call the other day and we booked the project, and now she's handling that communication. Like, I want people to know that Mali is my right hand for design. So is Anna, but Anna works closer with me because she's a bit more junior, but Mali can do like a full brand identity. So that's the goal. That is the goal.
And do you think that there's any way that you could delegate your social media, any of your social media time to team, like, so that you're not having to spend so much on it? Like, you could spend just a fraction, or not really?
I'm thinking, because Anna is doing something really cool now, that she is posting a lot of blank page stuff on her personal page and tagging me, so I don't have to do so much marketing on blank page. And she's doing this because I told her that I want her to book the projects personally. So that is a way of delegating. Anna being the multimedia artist and Anna doing most of the marketing for blank page while I market other offers, workshops, course, freebies, future templates that I will sell.
And I just want to do some quick numbers real quick. So you said that your profit from each branding project was $2,800, right? Do I remember that correctly?
Yes, 28 profit. Yes.
Okay. So then let's say it's on the upper end, 2,800 divided by 20. Okay, so that one's 140 an hour. Okay, so indeed your coaching is higher profit. So what I would say then, maybe as a next step, if it's cool with you, I think it's great that you're building an audience, and I think it's cool that you're moving towards the course thing. I just want to make sure that we do it sustainably without it like
Yeah.
causing you to have a mental breakdown or burnout or whatever.
Mhm.
So maybe a good top priority for you then is to lean in this direction you already are with like giving Molly more ownership.
Yeah.
And what I'm using, like, you know how I have these little thresholds where I'm like, once you hit this threshold, I will give you my blessing to do blank. In this case, my threshold would be once you successfully hand off an entire project minus like key points. So I think I told you before, Dan Martell has this framework for delegation that I really, really like. He calls it the 10-80-10 rule or something like that. And what he says is like, do the first 10% of the project yourself, have your team do the middle 80, do the final 10. And he gives the example of this. Nice. There's like an artist back in the day who painted like a bajillion medieval paintings for the queen and stuff. And like he had like a team of like hundreds of artists who were like painting paintings all day, but he would come in and do the faces. So yeah, if we could get one project such that you do the initial strategy and then you do the final review, I think that would be really cool. And it sounds like you're about to do that or you are doing that.
Yeah, we did that. Like what I'm doing is that I book the client, I go on the sales call, but I go on the strategy call, and then with that strategy call, I give Mali a direction. She designs, she bounces it back to me. I curate the designs, like maybe I change colors or maybe I change a little bit the typefaces, send it to the client. Every time they give me feedback, I give the feedback to Mali, and then she gives me the designs and then I present them to the client. This time, I want Mali to be more present. Like I want to tell the team more, like maybe Mali handles the feedback directly. And then I show up to the implementation call. Because it's two calls, branding call and implementation call. So I can be on the calls for sure, but Mali can be doing all the design.
Yeah, what I think would be smart if you want her in a position of ownership. I think that the thing that's most important is authority with the client. And so if this person is always seen as the like underfoot person, it's always going to be like, the client will see them as subordinate, and that's how they would naturally come into the situation anyway. So what I think would be smart, and what I'm planning to do in my own business, do a couple of your initial, like always have Molly there on all the client calls, in my opinion. And initially, you will lead them so that she can observe, and you guys should record them so you can create SOPs out of them. But what I think would be great is if after she's watched you do a couple, it'd be really cool to have like her lead one. So basically you say hello, you say, hey, I'm here with Molly. She's going to lead the thing. I'm mostly just here, you know, just to show my pretty face. But she's here to like do the strategy. And then you like hand it over to her. And then you only chime in for kind of, I don't know, secret sauce stuff. I think that could be a good way to go, because then you don't need to be the middleman. You don't need to have like Molly hand stuff to you. You hand it to the client. And instead, Molly and the client can just be interacting, and you can just like weigh in when it's necessary or whatever.
I love that.
How do you feel about that? Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I'm going to be able to delegate complete projects to Anna and Mali. I know that I'm still going to be part of Blank Page, but at a lower extent, and I'm going to make that publicly. Like, this is a year, Zach. Like, the course is mid next year, you know, I'm just building it super slowly. That I'm going to be able to say, hey, I have an agency. It's still happening. I go in for some branding projects, very specifically, obviously the highest tickets, but I'm here, I coach, and I give group courses. And my group course, what it would have different, it wouldn't be only productivity, because it would have a lot of marketing, how to market yourself seamlessly, silky sales, how to, you know, do social media, branding 101. Like that would be the twist of it for personal projects specifically.
Cool. Then yeah, it sounds like a great trajectory. So I guess kind of just keep on as you are, and probably like organizationally, in my eyes, the top project is like, I assume you're still tracking your time. So I'd say top priority is keep tracking your time and see if you can get your agency time down to like ideally 3 hours a week or less, or maybe 2 hours a week. Because if you can do that, then you have a little bit more bandwidth to be creating other stuff with that time.
That makes sense.
How does that sound to you?
Amazing, because all I want to do is just free workshops and show up to my community and stuff. And of course, I love Blank Pages, my baby. But I know, like, I'm so happy that I invested in a team. If I was there now alone, I'd be like, shit. Like, it is the best thing that I've done this year was invest in that, invest in coaching, really.
Yeah, it seems like you've done a great job building your team, for sure.
Yeah, it's been really beautiful. Like we had a meeting this week and we all talked and I was really like checking in. And they were like, no, we're super happy. We like the way to work with you. They're all so invested, Zach, in the business. Like they all want to be, Luisa wants to lead the marketing department and I want to open her own department of like arts and multimedia. Mali wants to run products because she has like an online shop too. So it's really great to see people that are so invested in the project. Like it makes me feel
awesome.
so like calm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, I feel like working with a team can either be hyper stressful or hyper peace inducing depending on how you do it. So it's great that you're on the peace inducing side of things.
Yeah. It has taken me time because before I was like, delegation was huge. Delegating was like, it was harder to delegate than to do the task myself, but I see the investment in like delegating, me learning how to delegate and them learning how to do the task. So now I don't see it as that, now I see it as, no, it takes me the double, but then they do it forever.
Yeah. I think that's the key reframe is like, I think you nailed both of them. Number one, it's the time up front to create the things so you don't spend the time later. But also what you said is like each time you do it, you get better at delegating. It's like a skill that you're building. So that's
it's such a skill. It's such a skill, really.
Awesome. Well, great chatting. I'm looking at the clock. I have to bounce for my next call.
Yeah.
But this is awesome. So I guess homework for the week is just keep pushing in this direction and see what you need to do to remove yourself further while not damaging the customer experience and make sure they still like get to see your face, even though the time behind the scenes is lower. I think that's the thing to be thinking about. Cool. Awesome. Well, dearest listener, if you enjoyed this, please leave a good review, like, subscribe, those sorts of things. And if you want to check out the accelerator for coaching just like this, it's at dyf.link/DYFA. If you want to learn more about Maia's business, she is on Instagram at Maia Ben, and the website is Blank Page Lab singular, right? Blank Page Lab singular .io. I always forget. Awesome. I'll hit stop. We won't disconnect. Thanks for being here, Maia. Thanks for being here, listener. See you guys next week.
Ciao.